Welcome to the Mukilteo Football Show. My name is Miles. Monday Night Football between the Steelers and the Colts is in the books. The regular schedule will return next week for the Mukilteo Football Show. We did the Sunday show yesterday on Monday. Now we're doing the Monday show today on Tuesday, which I don't like as much. This was all just because I was in Vegas on Sunday night and really didn't have time to record. This brought me greater appreciation to the more fun, more immediate reactions to the primetime game. Because it's just, to focus just on the Colts and Steelers now that it's the next day is kind of weird. So I'll blow through it. I am back in Seattle. Ended my last day in Vegas. As I said at the end of the show, I had one last bet to place at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada. And it was the 39.5 point over-under on the Colts and Steelers Monday Night Football. And with the go-ahead and eventually game-winning touchdown by Benny Snell and the subsequent 2-point conversion by George Pickens, with about 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the final stake was driven into my weekend. I think I was minus a lot in the betting. And I had posted on Twitter about carrying on my mom's tradition of bringing down some of the fantasy football buy-ins, and just gambling them and then paying the winners just kind of out of my own pocket in the summer. So it's almost like a loan, interest-free. But what I didn't say on that post was part of the family tradition has generally been to lose that money. And I did. The house always wins eventually. I should have stopped after my Michigan bet. That's how I started Vegas. I bet Michigan over Ohio State. That's how I started, and I lost all that throughout the weekend. But, I mean, this sounds like loser talk, but the under was the right play for Monday Night Football. Both offenses showed long stretches of ineptitude. The Colts didn't complete a pass until midway through the second quarter. And the Steelers, they had their own big, long time in the third quarter. They didn't even get a first down in the third quarter. But, there was that kickoff that set up a Jonathan Taylor touchdown. When the Steelers and Colts needed it, they got a touchdown drive in the second half. There was a Jonathan Taylor touchdown. There was the Pittman touchdown. And then eventually the game winner, which was a great Kenny Pickett drive. He started the fourth quarter with that. It was almost entirely through the air. Ended with that Snell touchdown. That drive was 75 yards. So at least it was a good game. The Steelers went up by 7, and the Colts had 2, non-time sensitive chances to tie the game, and the Matt Ryan Colts just couldn't do it. They had that. I know they had that scramble on second down. They're stopped a couple of yards short. People are really getting on Jeff Saturday by the timeout. Now, I think Jeff Saturday is incompetent and shouldn't be coaching, unless it's a CEO role, which I've talked about before. I kind of like that, the Eisenhower role, but I haven't heard them say that. If they said it, I would feel much better about it. Right now, I think he actually thinks he's a coach, and that worries me. But hey, I'll reserve too much judgment. But the timeout thing didn't really bother me. They still had plenty of time. What they needed to do was get the first down. The more egregious thing at the end of this Monday Night Football game was not calling the timeout after Matt Ryan was stopped short. It was the third down play, which is a run out of shotgun. Why willingly run it out of shotgun in that moment? I don't know. But let's get to the winners and losers of Week 12. And then we'll be back Thursday to talk Week 13. So it's going to be a short turnaround. But hey, the season's getting going and the playoffs are in sight. Mukilteo Football Show. The show's football everything. NFL history, legacy, ups and downs of a season. Follow us at MUK_football on Twitter or YouTube. Subscribe, share, review on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, wherever you get your podcasts. We have shows Monday after Monday Night Football, Thursday after Thursday Night Football and Sunday after Sunday Night Football. And we will be back to that schedule next week. But Week 12's in the books. Let's talk some winners and losers. Go check out yesterday's show where I did talk more Week 12 stuff. Check out the awards there. I gave out the Gone with the Wind Complicated Farewell Award. Go see who won that. Go see who won the most unfortunate way for Seattle residents to end a Las Vegas Cabana pool party award. Spoiler alert, it was us. Me and my friends. Losing to Josh Jacobs Raiders there. But let's get some positivity here. Let's talk some winners of Week 12. Jaguars quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Are we seeing a step? Here? He was kind of bubbling up in some PFF analytics grades in the last couple weeks, not just PFF, but other analytics sources, just sort of bubbling up. Ooh, Lawrence is playing well. And here's the guy who was tagged as a generational Namath, Elway, Peyton, Luck, successor. That guy showed up in Week 12, 2022. Now, this is a huge overreaction. He's got to stack games like this together. We're not just going to give it to him on 1 week. You could actually argue that this particular game, this Week 12 win for Trevor Lawrence against the Ravens, was actually one of his rougher games compared to the two previous, Week 10 and Week 11, but it was the end. It was the end that did it. Everyone had penciled in a Ravens win, and Trevor Lawrence just changed the outcome, hitting various Joneses, and he shocked the NFL audience. The one to Zay Jones into the red zone. Wonderful throw. The actual touchdown pass to Marvin Jones. These were big-time throws. They were Eli Manning suddenly elite type stuff from Trevor Lawrence. And yeah, some people would say if he had done those throws in the first quarter and then blew it in the fourth quarter with some of the plays that he had in this game earlier, then we'd be telling a different story. And, I could see that. Lawrence did have some bad plays early in the game, and had they come later, it's a totally different story. But also, there is real merit and real value to seeing someone be able to do it in the most pressure-filled moments. Because that is sometimes the unknowable thing. The thing you just can't predict. And nobody can. NFL GMs, NFL coaches, we all think we're in media, we all think we're super smart, but we're ranking and drafting Zach Wilson over Justin Fields. We're ranking and drafting Mitch Trubisky over Pat Mahomes. We're ranking and drafting Sam Darnold over Josh Allen, on and on and on. Everyone's a bunch of damn idiots out there. We need to accept that. Idiots. All of us. Coaches and GMs. And people like me. Why? Why can't we get this right? Why isn't it obvious? Why would anyone pick Sam Darnold over Josh Allen? Because this is the unknowable part. Can they do it in that moment? Unless you can construct that moment where the eyes of the NFL are on you, playing the Ravens down 7, Trevor Lawrence can do it. I just think that's cool. That was a moment. That's a big win for Week 12. All right, next winner. Boom, boom, boom. The Bengals, the Cincinnati Kitty Cats, they needed to beat the Titans. This is a tough part of their schedule. I know they got the Chiefs coming up next week, and their path, they really needed to get to 7-4 here and knock the Titans down to 7-4. So it was a good game for the Bengals. Their offensive line, they did it without Jamar Chase. I like how they're being safe with Chase, saying, hey, he probably could have played this week, but we're just going to give it one more because we need this guy. And it probably helps. Makes it a little easier to do that when you have T. Higgins, right? Higgins had a great day. And then I picked the Titans in this game. And my worry was the Bengals defense. I was worried about that, but at least for this week, I was really alleviated. They shut down Derrick Henry and they stopped the Titans, the number 1 red zone offense, Titans, in the red zone. And now the Bengals face a tough schedule coming up, so they really needed this. After starting 0-2, they're 7-4. Bengals got to be happy with that. All right, next winner. 2-point conversions for the win. Two teams did that this week, the Jaguars and the Los Angeles Chargers. I was so pumped to see that. You know, I have never understood, why is it the macho thing to do to kick the extra point, to kick the field goal instead of going for it on 4th and 1, to punt the ball from midfield? Why is that the macho thing? Why can't we do it the other way around? Why are you kicking it? Go for it. Especially if your offense just drove. So I can see there's a ton of scenarios where maybe you don't want to do things, and I get that. The analytics don't really point you surely any specific way in this particular case. You could make the analytics say both things. That's because they're numbers, and numbers have to be interpreted by human meatbags. It's one of the most common things that I say on this show. The analytics are only as good as the human meatbags who interpret them into football actions on the football field. That's a long story, but I like this, especially in the situation. So the Justin Herbert, Los Angeles Chargers, they're playing Arizona. He's driving the field. I think he had like 75 passing yards on a 65-yard drive because he had to overcome a holding penalty. And they get that touchdown. Justin Herbert's on absolute fire. Go for 2 instead of taking the extra point and forcing overtime and all that stuff. And of course, they did get it. And same with Trevor Lawrence. We talked about his drive and the big-time throws he was making. The Ravens are on their heels. Lawrence just made all these throws. Go for 2. Now, sure, if you're the coach and you think, God, that was super lucky that we even got this touchdown, maybe you don't go for 2. There's certainly aspects to it that you have to decide. But I really like it for not just the reason of winning the game or getting a chance, a one play to win the game, but also just player, I don't know if I want to say safety, but player, just care for your players. It's a long season. If you can avoid overtime by taking a little bit onto your shoulders as the head coach, do it. You know, that should be the macho thing. Get off your deflection perception podiums and take it into your own hands. Go for 2. Be ready to explain why you didn't if you didn't. And put yourself out there a little bit. Brandon Staley did that this week. Doug Peterson did that this week, 2 of the more forward-looking coaches, and they got wins out of it. They stole wins out of it. Loved it. Jaguars, Chargers, going for 2. All right, let's get to the losers. Broncos country, let's unravel. Russell Wilson is having a hellish year. And I do blame the coach a little bit, Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, he sounds dumb when he explains things. He's had little NFL success. I was going to say I don't understand how Hackett got a head coaching job. Yes, I do. He was hired in an attempt to woo Aaron Rodgers to the Denver Broncos because Hackett was the assistant coach and quarterbacks coach there with the Packers. But did he do something special with the Jaguars? You know, no, he absolutely did not. I believe Nathaniel Hackett is a major problem. But being this bad can't be just coaching. Russell Wilson looks physically different, slow, and it's just crazy. It's crazy that it's happening. It makes no sense. There are people now saying maybe Russell Wilson was never good. And I disagree with that. 10 years in Seattle, he absolutely was good. It wasn't an accident. I mean, he had the mallet finger thing made him look pretty bad in 2021, but he was good while he was here. What's happening now is maybe a quarterback not aging well, maybe some coaching, and maybe some unwillingness to listen. I don't know. It's all from the outside. We got this defensive tackle yelling at him, and I know the Denver Broncos defense is surely frustrated. But we didn't really know what he said. If you've played sports before, I think you could see a scenario where that's just like, come on, man, do something, more than like a personal attack that could be made to look for. Just come on, get it together. It could be something more like that. Because Russell seemed to handle it pretty well, so credit to him, with a defensive player shouting in his face from his own team. The Broncos defense has been elite. but, they can only be elite for so long. I mean, they didn't really do a good job stopping Sam Darnold this week, but anyway, Broncos country, let's unravel. All right, let's get to the next loser. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, the Tristan Wirfs injury. Right tackle for the Buccaneers. 3rd year, All-Pro. Tom Brady came to Tampa Bay, age 43, won a Super Bowl, but one of the things that arrived with him was an elite offensive line, at least the gelling of an elite offensive line. And that same year that they brought in Tom Brady, they also drafted, with the 13th overall pick in 2020, this tackle, Tristan Wirfs. 4th tackle in that draft, actually. He's been amazing. Now, we already don't have the center, Ryan Jensen. One of the great guards, Ali Marpet, he retired. Now we don't have Wirfs. We cannot afford any more attrition on that line. This is bad in Tampa Bay. And Todd Bowles is not helping things. He's doing that defensive coach stuff, that is to say, stupid stuff. He's got 3 timeouts, an opportunity to get the win, but he doesn't. Because he said he didn't want to risk an interception. You have Tom Brady. He just threw the record of attempts without an interception. If you don't trust him, who do you trust? The field position calculation is too valuable, Todd Bowles. You're thinking of it too much. You need points. And if you get points, the field position problems that you have, they're a little alleviated because you're scoring points. Now, that's not to say the Buccaneers offense is doing well. They're running the ball on the first down and failing, but this injury is so bad. And Wirfs, they're saying he might be back this year. I watched the injury. I don't think so. Another star offensive line injury hurts a team with a 45-year-old quarterback more than others. Now, Brady, I'm sure, can protect himself and get rid of the ball, but this is bad for the Buccaneers, man. And they're still in first place in the division. They're 5-6. Falcons are 5-7. Saints are 4-8. Panthers are 4-8. Everybody right there in the muddle. The Falcons, Saints, and Panthers have their byes coming either this week or next week. What is the NFC South going to be? I don't know. All right, last loser. And ultimately sticking with the NFC South here and the New Orleans Saints, who were shut out by the San Francisco 49ers. That ends the longest active shutout streak or non-shutout streak in the NFL. It goes back to 2002 or something like that, since the New Orleans Saints had been shut out. And of course, largely because of the Sean Payton, Drew Brees 2006-2020 era. Without that era, and I know that's 15 years, but without the Sean Payton, Drew Brees, then the Saints are literally worse than the Lions and Browns. Because at least the Lions have a 1950s history, the Browns as well, and a little bit of 60s. Saints had nothing. Just the Sean Payton, Drew Brees era. Saints, man, I know Alvin Kamara was fumbling, but Andy Dalton, if his floor is 0 points, then why not go with Jameis Winston? What floor is worse than 0? And Jameis Winston saying, you're not supposed to lose your job to injury. I will say, but you do. You totally do. Everybody agrees with that as long as the person you're talking about is Andy Dalton, because it resonates, but people lose their job to injury all the time. So the Saints could have beaten the 49ers on Sunday. It was 13-0? Jimmy G heroically got the 49ers to 13 points with only 4 elite position players, a great offensive line, and a great coach. Man, it's tough out there for Jimmy G. Backhanded loser to Jimmy Garoppolo here. All right, I will see you all Thursday to preview Week 13. And the final 6 weeks are going. Playoffs are coming. It's going to get exciting out there.